How to make process of testing and tracking. Don't be impatient. Don't end the test prematurely just because it looks like one variation is pulling out ahead as a winner. Be patient and gather all the data, as then you can be confident in your results. Test pricing. And this is a big factor when it comes to conversions. And there are 3 types of pricing you can test. First, major pricing. This is where you test major pricing differences such as $19.99, $29.99, and $49.99. Second, payment options. Here, you can test options such as PayPal versus 2-checkout, or you can test payment plans versus one-off payments. Third, minor pricing. Here's where you test minor differences to see which pulls better, such as $19.99 versus $19.97. Next, block escape hatches. Make sure there is only one primary exit on a sales page, the order button. Now, if you need to include other links, such as terms of service, then test whether to open new windows with these links, open pop-up windows, or open them in the same page. Test quickly. The sooner you can run a test and find out what works, the sooner you can get higher conversions and get more people on your mailing list and make more sales. That's why you'll want to run your test quickly. A good way to do this is to buy traffic, such as by using Google AdWords or even Facebook ads, which lets you get traffic almost instantly. Now, if you buy enough traffic, you can complete your test as soon as in a few days. Don't make assumptions. Just because something works for someone else doesn't mean it will work for you. Don't make these sorts of assumptions. Instead, test everything yourself to see what works. For example, just because everyone in your niche uses red font for headlines doesn't mean that's what converts the best. Now, test it yourself to find out for sure. Develop a testing process. Don't test blindly. Instead, use this process to determine what to test. Step 1. Identify problems. Check your traffic logs in order to identify problems in your sales process. For example, check conversion rates on your sales letter to determine if your sales letter is optimized. Step 2. Analyze the problem. Here, you hypothesize what is causing the problem. For example, if people are bouncing out of sales letter quickly, then you may want to start by testing headlines. Step 3. Run your test. Now do an A/B split test on the factor that you think is causing the problem. Step 4. Draw conclusions. When the test is done, look at your stats to determine if your hypothesis was correct. Check which variation created the best conversion rate, and where warranted, run additional tests to further improve conversions. Next, 3 factors to boost ad conversions. Let's suppose you are running an ad on Facebook or even a niche site. Here are 3 factors to test. The ad headline. This factor tends to have the biggest impact on conversion rates, so make sure you optimize until you have something that gets attention and gets clicked. The ad graphics. Generally, simple graphics with bold colors are better than busy graphics. Your photos or other graphics should help your ad get attention. The call to action. If you're not getting the clicks, then check if your CTA is doing its job. Next, increase email conversions with these 4 tests. Optimize your emails by testing these 4 factors. Subject lines. This factor generally has the biggest impact because if no one opens your email, then the rest of the content really doesn't matter. Opener. The subject line drew the reader in, and the opener is going to determine whether they keep reading. So test different openers to boost response. The offer. Another big factor is what product you're offering and the price. So rotate different products and offers to see which ones your audience responds to the best. Day or time sent. If you're sending emails when your audience isn't in a position to take action, they won't. That's why it's a good idea to test different days and different times of the day to find out what boosts your conversions the most. Next, 10 factors that can boost your sales letter conversions. There are plenty of factors you can test on a sales letter. Here are some of the biggest factors: the headline, the subheadline, the opener, the bulleted list of benefits, the call to action, the postscript, the guarantee, the overall offer like price, positioning, and bonuses, the overall design of the website, the headline, font, size, and color, which brings us to the next point. Focus on the 20%. Now, here's a good guideline. 20% of factors will produce 80% of the results. So your job is to identify the top 20%, such as headlines or prices, and then focus the majority of your efforts on optimizing those factors. Test one factor. Unless you're familiar with multivariate analysis, it's a good idea to test just one variable at a time while holding all other variables constant. That way, you can be confident that any changes to your conversion rate are due to that one factor. For example, if you want to test sales letter headlines, then be sure the only difference between your sales letter A and sales letter B is the headline. Don't create any other differences, such as trying to test pricing, web design, or anything else. Acquire good tools. Testing is easy when you have the right tools. These include built-in tools. For example, check if your email service provider offers tracking and testing tools. Standalone tools. Examples here include Google Analytics, pweek.org, or now known as Matomo, which is an alternative to Google Analytics, and split testing tools such as splittestmonkey.com. And finally, 2 things to test. Now, here are 2 items to test which are often overlooked: long copy versus short copy. Some audiences respond best to a long-form sales letter, while others prefer a headline with a half a dozen benefits. So you'll need to test this to see which your audience prefers. Keep in mind that it may be different for different types of offers. Now, video versus text. You may test video sales letters, text sales letters, or a combination of both. So let's wrap things up. You just discovered 101 ways to boost your conversions across your ads, sales letters, emails, articles, and other content. So now, your next step is to take action by implementing these tips, because the sooner you do, the sooner you'll start enjoying higher conversions, more subscribers, more sales, and more money in the bank.